Thanks to everyone for coming to the healing room tonight. Tonight's topic of conversation is manifestation and the subconscious mind. And this is a pretty significant topic in the world. We hear it so much about how we have the power to manifest whatever it is that we want. We just have to focus and bring it into reality, right? Easy peasy. And it's a lot more complex than that for me. And I have a lot of experience with manifestation over many, many years. So what I'm sharing is my direct experience. It's not the gospel by any means, but it's what's worked for me and how I have, created the reality that really works for me in this world. So to me, manifestation isn't based on me having an idea and just wanting to materialize that. It's not like a mental thing that's happening. It's actually a heart-centered thing. And manifestation for me is the awareness that something is in my field of consciousness and is approaching me. So this feeling arises within me that I need to focalize so I can be a clear receptor of that which is my destiny. So manifestation to me relates directly to our soul's path, our soul's purpose, and destiny. So before the soul incarnates, it has a plan, it has goals, it has contracts that it's made with other souls to have certain experiences. So if the path is already set, what is it that we have to do to manifest beyond being aware in each moment of what our next steps and stages are in our life? So an example of this is in the early 2000s, I had this vision of a house that looked really beautiful that I felt like I wanted to live in. And it was in nature, surrounded by acres of land, and it was very peaceful. And it was the perfect match for what I was wanting to experience. So I spoke into existence and I said, I receive the perfect house and perfect timing that is in nature with all this acreage of land and quietude and peace, and where the inside of the house feels like I'm outside in nature. That was my parameters. Very simple, basic. I don't want to put too much of a container on the manifestation. And so fast forward 15 years, and I find this house, or it finds me. I'm not sure actually who's doing what, to be honest. Like, why did that idea of a house pop into my mind at that moment in time? Was it an intuition? Was it a vision of the future? So who's manifesting what? That was my thought when I found this house, because I saw this house online. It's in North Carolina. I was in New York. And I told my realtor, it was the first house I looked at. I said, that's the house. Put an offer for me. I'll take it. And he's like, you can't buy a house sight unseen. I said, actually, I know the house. I created it. It's in my mind. I created it inside of me, or it created me. And so I know it's my home. And he said, no, I can't possibly put an offer on a house you haven't seen. You have to come see it. Trust me, I'm a realtor. I know what happens if you don't look at the house first. I said, fine, I can come in 2 weeks. The next day, it goes on pending. Someone put an offer. And I said, universe, we all know that's my house. So it can stay in pending until I come, but it needs to go off pending by the time I get there. Sure enough, the day before I get back to North Carolina, it's back up for sale. I go see it, I buy it. I'm now living in it for, what is it now, 8 years? So, how does this happen? Like, how some part of me knew something was to come. Because even the way it manifested this house, I was walking in North Carolina with my cousin, and I said, one day I'm going to buy a house here. I have this feeling. And he said, you want to buy a house? And he picks up his phone, calls his realtor, tells his realtor, my cousin wants to buy a house now. And I'm just like, no, no, one day, well, not now, one day. And then the realtor's like, oh, I'll call the mortgage people. We'll immediately get the mortgage approval. And I'm like, what's going on here? I'm not involved in this decision-making process. So I'm watching this whole thing unfold and very aware, like, this is not my doing. This is the universe interceding. This is divine order and timing occurring. And I got to pay attention because everyone's moving and no one's listening to me. So clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about. So these are the things to pay attention to, this flow, this movement of energy in a direction of is always informing us of our destiny. And we want to stay on path with our destiny, our soul's path, because if not, then we experience suffering. When we use our will instead of the divine will, align with the divine will, when we use our will to manifest, to devise our life, we can create a lot of problems for ourselves because the ego, the personality, doesn't know the destination. It has desires, it has wants, it has needs, but it isn't necessarily in alignment with the soul's path and purpose. So, an example of this, of me going against or trying to go against my higher self, was when I was living in Hawaii. And at a certain point, I decided I'm going to buy a house here because I love it. I love this land. I love living by the water. So I'm going to buy a house. I didn't tune in. I didn't ask. I didn't check in at all. I just went with what I wanted. And I got the mortgage approval, no money down to buy a house. That was pre 2008 and the subprime blow up. So they gave me anything I wanted. And I was like, great, that was easy. So I started looking for a house, and my inner voice says, do not buy a house here. Loud and clear. And I'm like, why would I not want to buy a house here? Of course I want to buy a house here. Nope, this is not your place to live. You will not be happy here. And I'm like, of course I'll be happy here. So do you hear that resistance? That's the voice you want to know, that resistance, because that's the voice to never follow. That is my will. I want. But here is this guidance coming in, because I would never say those words. I would never say, don't buy a house here. You're not going to be happy. So clearly, it's a vector of intuition coming through. So because I was so stubborn, I had to contact a friend of mine who is a clairvoyant. And I said, I want to buy a house here in Hawaii. Could you just check for me to see if that serves my highest good? And she's like, immediately, she's like, oh, no, no, no. You need to go back to New York City within 8 months. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go back to New York City. No, no, you have to go. You have unfinished business. And I'm like, all right, I have to follow this. I have to follow this. So I got a place for 8 months in Hawaii. And by the 6th month, I was very agitated. I no longer wanted to be on the Big Island. I was no longer an energetic match. So my higher self, of course, knew. The clairvoyant knew. So I hightailed it back to New York City. And within a few weeks, a friend of mine contacts me and says, I want to offer you $10,000 for a car. I got in meditation that you need a car. And I'm like, I don't need a car. I'm in New York City. I'm good. And she's like, no, no, I got very clearly you need a car. So I want to gift you $10,000. I said, no, I don't need a car. Thank you. I'm good. And I thought that was very strange. And then a few months later, another person contacts me and says, I want to offer you $10,000 for a car. And I'm like, all right, all right. I'm not a fool. This is guidance, and something's happening that I'm not aware of. So I said, sure, I'll accept the money. And I said, all right, universe, clearly there's something I don't know here that we're doing. And I accept the car and I want it to be a blue RAV4. That's what I want because I kept seeing a blue RAV4 everywhere I went in the streets. And so a week later, I wake up and I hear your blue RAV4 is waiting for you at Bay Ridge Toyota. Go pick it up. Sure enough, I go there. There's one RAV4. It's blue and it's mine. So again, who's manifesting what? Why would two people contact me and offer me the gift of a car when I didn't need one? If there wasn't a destined path, who's running the show here? So let's fast forward now to that car was needed because I went upstate New York where I used to do sessions before I left for Hawaii. And a friend of mine there was gathering clients for me. So she was holding space and I would go and see clients there. And she called me and said, I only have two people for you who want sessions. And my immediate response was, oh, I'm not going to come all the way up there for two sessions. And immediately I heard, you will go. You will go. So I said, okay, I'll come. Even though it makes no sense, I will come. So I go up there. I do two sessions. The second session is Robin up here. And after the session, she says, have you ever considered working in Connecticut? I have a healing center in Connecticut. And I was like, yeah, I would like that. And so it turns out for the next 7 years, I'm driving back and forth from New York City to Connecticut. So the point of all these stories is there's a destined path that if we simply align with that destined path, all that is ours will come to us in perfect timing. We simply need to be aware and awake of the visions, the feelings, the intuitions, the knowings of what to do next on our path, and then to be a clearing to receive, to be a clearing to receive that which wants to manifest through us that is our birthright. That which wants to manifest through us because it's our destiny to receive it. But again, I have to be a vibrational match to that which wants to arise. If I'm not, it will not happen, it will not manifest. An example of this is some years ago, I woke up one morning, I decided I'm tired of living from paycheck to paycheck. I never had much interest in making much money, just enough to live, survive, pay my bills. But I never was one to make more than I needed. And so one day it just hit me that this needs to stop. This type of limitation on my abundance needs to end. And so I did some inner work, subconscious work, because there are programs in our subconscious that are running the show, that are running our lives and limiting our abundance on all levels. So since I was aware of that, I knew I had to find the program that said, I don't really want money. I don't need money. I don't care about money, right? All those types of programs. And I went to the subconscious and found poverty consciousness or a vow to poverty. So that program was limiting my capacity to receive mega abundance. And I said, okay, great. I'm going to do a ritual, which I made up, just a ritual on receptivity and rewriting the contract. So completing the contract with poverty consciousness and the vow of poverty. The vow of poverty is a contract you make with yourself at some point in time. some other lifetime. We say all these words, and all of our words spoken is recorded, is contracted. So we have to go back into the subconscious, find these contracts, and rewrite the contract, rewrite the script. So I rewrote the contract. I opened up my field to receive the abundance I am, to receive the megabundance I am. I cleared my space in my home. I feng shuied it so that the quadrant or the gua for abundance was fed and nourished. I put an empty vessel there, put some gold coins in it. I fed it with purple. I believe that was the color at the time. And that was it. I let it go. And I knew it was done. I spoke the words, I did the ritual, I incorporated the programs in my subconscious that were limiting, and now I knew the abundance would come. And sure enough, within a month, a good amount of money showed up my way. Cleared the path to receiving. So chances are that abundance was already coming, was already on its way. And that's why I woke up that morning and felt, I need to clear this. So I don't know that I created the abundance as much as I opened up the field of consciousness to receive the abundance because I was aware it was on its way. So the intuition, the subtle impulses we receive, this is the guidance we want to follow in order to know what are the next steps in my path and what is it I need to manifest, materialize, and to ensure that I am an open, receptive vehicle for that abundance. There's a great story with Jim Carrey. I'm not sure if you all have heard of it, where he wrote himself a check for $10 million. So in 1992, he writes himself a check for $10 million for the services of acting, for acting and performing services. And he puts the date to Thanksgiving 1995. And he said he visualized on a regular basis the receptivity of those funds. He really created this field of I am receiving that which already is. So some part of him knew it was going to happen. And he even knew the timing because he received that much money, $10 million, for Dumb and Dumber right before Thanksgiving 1995. So can any of us put down $10,000 on a check for services rendered and a date and receive that? I don't know. I think if it's our destiny, if I am called to do that, if I am guided to do that, I would do that. But if not, I'm not going to play around with money like that. I don't do that. I want to be in total alignment with my higher self and soul so that I am supporting my destiny, not trying to override it. So imagine if I bought that house in Hawaii, my whole destiny would have changed. I wouldn't have come back to New York. I wouldn't have worked at the healing center where so much incredible work happened in Connecticut. I wouldn't have been here for my father's passing in 2008 and having to take care of his whole estate for 4 years. So if I would have not paid attention to my inner calling, to the truth inside of me, and if I just followed my own whims, my own egoic wishes and desires, I could have totally sidetracked my life. Right? Who knows where I would have been in 10, 15 years? Who knows where I would be today? No idea. But I know that was the right decision to come back to New York City, to work in Connecticut, take care of my father's estate, and on the story goes. Because I'm in alignment. I am listening. I am committed. I'm committed to my soul's path and my soul's journey. And so we each have free will, right? We each have free will to do what we want. We're free to follow our soul's path and destiny, or we're free to follow our own personal egoic will. We are free. One is the path of freedom, the other is the path of suffering. Because whenever I went against the guidance, I suffered. So we always want to be in alignment with the greater part of ourself, that we may be on that path to our destiny. And if those things that are ours are not arising, then we have to look at the obstacles in the subconscious mind. Because in order to receive, we have to learn the lessons. Like I needed to learn the lesson of letting go of this vow of poverty. I'm not an ascetic in India, in the mountains, in this lifetime. I'm not an ascetic. It's a different moment in time. So in order to have manifested mega abundance, I had to do the inner work to clear the programs. And that's for anything. For relationships, if the relationship one is desiring is not arising, one has to look to see, do I have any fears of intimacy? Do I have any obstacles to receiving this person I would like to receive? Because the person exists, they are there, but we're not a vibrational match to receive that person yet. We're not a vibrational match to receive that job yet. We're not a vibrational match to have a healthy body yet. So that's subconscious content. Delving deep into the subconscious is a very important part of the healing process and the manifestation process. Because the more healed we are, the more whole we are, the more excavated that subconscious mind is, the more capacity we have to materialize, to generate, to manifest whatever it is that we want, whatever it is that we need. Because if I am in alignment and there's no obstructions within me, manifestation is like that. And when I say like that, it doesn't mean like I say apple and apple happens. I'm not there yet, but it means I say the tenant across the street is leaving and I have 2 weeks before they're gone. So I will say the perfect tenant shows up with ease and grace without me having to lift one finger. And I'll say it 3 times. The perfect tenant shows up with ease and grace, and I don't have to lift one finger. The perfect tenant shows up with ease and grace, and I don't have to lift one finger. And sure enough, someone shows up without me having to advertise or anything and takes it the day after the old tenant leaves. That is the next level of manifestation, where all my needs are met as they arise. Any need I may have is met while it arises. And if it doesn't, I'll say, help me see the obstacles within my subconscious or anywhere. Help me see and clear the obstacles to receiving the abundance I am. Help me see and clear the obstacles to receiving the abundance I am. Our words are powerful. Our visions are powerful. Our intentions are powerful. So always be your word. Never mess around with words, because everything is being recorded. The Akashic records The universe is listening to everything we are saying, and it is giving us, it is manifesting for us everything we believe. So, because the subconscious mind operates from rhyme and rhythm, we want to continually give it the new program. I receive abundance with ease and grace. Abundance finds me everywhere I go. The subconscious is like, oh, I thought we don't need money. I thought money is evil. I thought, nope, new program. Abundance finds its way to me with ease and grace whenever I need it. And so anytime there is a need for something, you speak it into existence, not wanting something, not wanting, knowing. I receive the perfect tenant in perfect timing with ease and grace. Ask and it's given. Ask and it's already done. I receive the perfect tenant in perfect timing with ease and grace without lifting a finger. Done. That's it. It's complete. Ask and it's done. I'm a clearing for receiving, so I know it will happen. I'm not wondering if it's going to happen. I am a clearing for its occurrence because it's already occurred. It's already done. This is very important with manifestation. If this is mine, it will arise with ease and grace. If it is not, I let it go. I don't hold on. I don't get attached. Do not attach to any of it, especially timing. Especially timing. It's in divine timing, not my timing. How many times, though, I said, where's that house? I'm ready to be in my house. And I'd hear, take a dose of impatience. You're very impatient. I said, I know, but I can feel it. I can see it. It's like, it's not time yet. And it was true. It wasn't time yet. So we are manifestors. We are creators. We can have whatever experience we want here, but make sure you ask for that experience that is in alignment with your soul's path and your soul's purpose and your soul's destination. Because then you are safe and protected from creating something that doesn't serve you. So I always say at the end when I'm manifesting, I say, if it serves the highest good for myself and all of the universe, then great. If not, I let it go. If not, I let it go. And again, if we're not manifesting our heart's desire, not our mind's desires, our heart's desire, then we have to become the clearing for receptivity. And that's where the deep subconscious work comes in. Great. I think that's a good amount of time for me monologuing. So much more to talk about because manifestation is one of my favorite topics. And I've seen it out there put in ways that I found a little sketchy. So this is why I have these caveats with manifestation and how I've come to the place of realizing that I'm not manifesting something. It's actually informing me of what is to come. It's informing me. And it's so empowering to perceive like that, to know that something is coming and something is coming soon, and the excitement around that. And how do I prepare the space to receive this wonderful guest, this wonderful gift? How do I prepare the space to receive it? rather than why is it not happening? And, you know, I'm a victim or something's wrong with me. Other people are lucky, but I'm not. All these thought forms have to be released, have to be integrated, all of it. And that's why I work with the flower essences, because it does that. It works at these negative thought forms slowly but surely. Fear, ungrounded, anger, resistance, victimhood, judgment, anxiety, and on it goes. These flower essences all help us to clear these patterns so that we are able to traverse this terrain, to go to our destiny, to meet destiny with ease and grace. Thoughts, comments, sharings? You can just unmute.
I have a quick question.
Sure, Heather.
Um, could you talk a little bit more about how you find the blocks in your subconscious? Like, do you meditate? How do you, narrow it down to what it is, where it is?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Pin me again. So say I want to manifest material abundance, money. I will do a subconscious purge. And a subconscious purge looks like this. A conscious thing about money will be like, oh, money is great, money is fun, money is freedom. But that's the conscious mind. That's not obstructing the receptivity of abundance. So I have to go to the subconscious. And the way I work with the subconscious is I will say, money is, and then I'll let whatever pops into my mind arise. So money is a burden. Money is so annoying. Money is addictive. Money is, I can lose it. I can make it and then I lose it. So what's the point? Money is, and then you keep going deeper and deeper to excavate all of those negative limiting beliefs around abundance. I can do it with relationships. Oh, if I end up in a relationship, I'm going to be burdened. I'm going to be stuck. I'll be responsible for this person. I won't have enough alone time, right? Whatever it is that I may believe, limiting belief that I may have about relationships, I have to clear that stuff out. So I will write it out because I'm taking it out of my subconscious, bringing it into this material world, and then I will burn all of it. I will burn it all up. And then I will reprogram,
How do you burn it?
put it in the fire. So I'll burn it up and then I'll say, relationships are beautiful, loving, intimate, heart opening. Relationships allow me to be more vulnerable, to be more sharing, to be more caring. Relationships are fun. So I will start to reprogram the idea of relationships so that I may be an opening and a receiver of relationships. It doesn't mean I'm done, because then the relationship comes, and then you got the real work to do because all the other programs in the subconscious will be there. All the other samskaras, all the lineage patterns will arise. So, you're basically doing the clearing to receive the relationship. And then you got to do the work once you're in the relationship. So it continues. Is that clear? That's subconscious. Anyone else would like to share questions, thoughts?
Hey, Joseph.
Yeah. Hey, Summer.
I know you've said these things a number of times and I've heard them, but I think I heard them a bit differently now. Maybe I've been worn down by life. And just finally, because you'll hear Abraham Hicks or someone just like, dream up this big thing or that one, just, manifest it. And I think I am more inclined to believe that like, all right, I need to get in touch with what my soul actually is doing and make sure this is aligned. I've had enough painful experiences. So it seems I mean, would you like, I think, okay, if you think to yourself, yeah, I want that $10 million check or whatever, it would probably be good to meditate and tap in and ask, like, is this actually in alignment? Or it might even be a good idea to go, all right, well, maybe I should just sort of meditate and ask to see what wants to come to me. Where am I going? I've not actually done that. Like I have had certainly, like, I was essentially kidnapped from California and brought to Florida to work at an augmented reality wearable device company that turned into a $1 billion company. So stuff like that has happened, uh but I haven't actually tapped in and thought, what does my soul want to do? I have tried to sort of strong arm it, but maybe I should ask it.
I highly recommend sitting with your higher self, your soul, and downloading information regularly. Am I on path? If I'm not on path, show me. Show me the path. Show me the way to go. What is obstructing me from perfect health? Right? I went through many, many years, 20 plus years of so many health challenges. And I'm like, what is going on? What is needed for this body? Show me. And it would. It would bring various practitioners at various points in time that would help me in my healing of my body and progress slowly but surely. But it took 20 years. So someone can say, well, you didn't manifest perfect health. Well, I don't know that I will ever manifest perfect health in this body with my lineage and my karma. Who knows if I ever will, but I'm like 95% better after all those years. So clearly, I was on path with my dis-ease. Because even though I was suffering at a certain level, I was still evolving. There was still grace. Amazing things would happen. All my needs would be met as they arose. So even though I was having physical pain and suffering, I was still experiencing all these other spiritual gifts, so to speak. And my inner voice would always affirm, everything is on path. Don't worry, you have to go through this. Now I understand, because now I understand the healing process like I never could have just by going to some school. I went through it. I went through the eye of the needle. I'm initiated. Maybe that was my soul's path and purpose. It wanted me to go through this, it wanted to go through this process that I could learn how to support other people in their healing process. So maybe it was to be of service. Maybe it was to burn off karma. Maybe a lot of things. But as long as I was on point and on path, grace would always show up and all of my needs were met and everything came to me as I needed it, just not the body being in perfect health. So I had to be very, very patient with that process. But yes, sitting with oneself daily is a good idea. One can call it meditation. I have direct conversations. I will ask, like, should I teach this next class? Should I write this book at this moment in time? Is this the best use of my energy? Because I have so many things, on the burner. I have so many pots on the burners that this body, this being can get overwhelmed. So I want to know what's the best use of my energy now, today. This project, that project, this class, what is it? What serves the highest good? And then I follow that guidance. If I'm experiencing ill health, I'll say, what's needed for this ill health? If I'm working with a client, I'll say, what's the remedy for this person at this moment in time? So I will manifest the remedy in moments sometimes. Whereas in school, I was taught how to do an intake that was upwards of 3 hours. So I said, universe, is not going to work for me. I can't do a 3-hour intake. I don't have any patience for that. So you're going to have to drop into I said these words, you're going to have to drop into my consciousness what the person needs as quick as possible. That's my desire. That's my wish. And that's what happens. Information just pops into my mind on many levels for each person. But I asked for it.
Seems like you
I asked to learn about the flower essence in a way that was not in the books, and it came to me. So we have to engage. We have to engage the universe. We have to engage source. We have to engage our soul. So I'm a big fan of having conversations. I'm always having conversations with the invisible ones, always calling upon support, help, guidance, because I'm in form. I'm a little ant on this planet, and I can only see what's in front of me, but I have access to tremendous amounts of support. Tremendous. Angels, archangels, masters, ascended masters, soul, higher self, and then some. Why in the world would I not contact and ask for support? So yes, attuning to your soul, higher self, asking the questions. Remember, there's a law of non-interference in the universe. So if we don't ask, there can be no interference.
So you're asking your soul, your higher self, but are you differentiating between asking your soul, your higher self, and asking your guides, or are you just kind of thinking of it all as kind of one?
Yeah, it's all pretty much one to me. I don't know who exactly is communing with me, but I know there are these distinctions in the universe. So I speak to these distinctions. But when I'm speaking, when I'm calling out, it's like whoever is of light and love that's close by, these are my requests, these are my needs right now. They need to be met immediately.
And then also you seem to demand, and I'm still trying to get into that, I guess.
Well, it's not so much demand as it is command. So if I'm one with source, if I'm a spark, a divine spark of God, then I have all the attributes of God. I'm everything. Dark, light, good, bad, right, wrong. So I own that. I own that I'm all of it. So if I'm all of it, I should be able to command all of it. I should be able to say something and that thing happens. But I've also done a tremendous amount of inner work, facing many shadows, been through many dark night of the soul for many years. So I've been initiated to command in this moment in time for myself. I don't use that to heal though, because I do not interfere with people's healing process because I don't know what the illness or the dis-ease is doing for them. I don't have that awareness. So I don't claim to stop anyone's process. If they have grace and they're ready to move forward, my being will be used. The presence within the healer is used to facilitate a healing. But I'm not doing it. I don't think about it. I don't interfere. But that's where I am today, right? That's where I'm at today. But if I knew the person was ready, willing, and done and received their lessons, then I could command it. But I'm not at that level yet. I'm still at the place of I do not know. I do not know with what people need. So I'm in emptiness when I work with people and I let information just arise in my consciousness. That's very different than, like, say, a perfect master who will say, do this and your disease will be gone, which I've read many books about those perfect masters. So that's a different level of consciousness. But when I'm in need to do something and I know it's for the greater good, like that driveway that I've manifested. Remember, I said, I have a long driveway to get up this hill and it needed to be paved. And I got someone here and they're like, yeah, it'll cost you $40,000. And I'm like, $40,000. What? He said, yeah, it'll cost you $40,000. And I'm like, he's like, you gotta let me know within 24 hours because I have a queue of people that need my assistance. And I'm like, give me 24 hours, I'll figure it out. And so I sat down and I said, that driveway needs to be done so clients can get up that hill. So figure it out. Where's the money coming from? And I just sat there for about 20 minutes and I waited. And I heard, contact this person, they have the money for you. And I did. Called the guy back, called him. He said, yes, I'll give it to you. Called the guy back. And sure enough, it was done within a few weeks. So the driveway was already paved. I saw it paved. I knew it was paved. I just needed to create the clearing for it to be done. It's already done. I'm not manifesting what isn't already manifest. Does that make sense?
It does. So it's not really a great idea to just sit there and think, oh, what in the world would I like? It's much better to, well, at least if you come up with something, check in or ask your soul where it's going and
Yeah,
align with
but
it.
also if something does come in and you don't know if it is, in alignment with your higher self, or if it's just a mental thought, like you're standing next to someone in some pub and you pick up their thoughts. If you don't know, then you say, if it serves my highest good to receive this, I am open to receive it. If not, I let it go. So no harm done in the manifestation.
Yeah, that's all helpful.
Great.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Anyone else? Thoughts, ideas, challenges, sharings?
Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Benita. Hi, Pierre.
Hi.
All right, so we're in a process of receiving our forever home. Yeah. And what I've found is that it's like that we've adopted almost a passive receptive approach in terms of what is out there. And we're looking and we're like, okay, we'll take a look at that place. But I feel like we were also looking at maybe we'll build, maybe we'll rent, maybe we'll buy. And so I was like, I could feel the wonkiness and and recognizing that there wasn't the clarity, the clear conduit within us and within me and in our communication to the universe. And so what I know is that we are deserving of having our forever home. And I don't give a fuck what the market is dictating in Asheville. It's like, I feel like that I feel like my soul is saying, okay, let's get really clear. For me, I'm visual, I'm kinesthetic. I want to feel the energy and what I know is looking at like photos of different houses, not that they're the perfect house or whatever, but that they bring in the feeling of that. And then it's in that embodiment of the feeling for me that I'm communicating. And that my hope is that you can join me in this process.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would be fun because then we can really dial in what our differences are, what we feel passionately about. And then I don't even want to attend to the details of how much. I'm not totally clear. We're not totally clear of where and so I just feel like this, in order to manifest that we have power once we really tap in to ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's not just a matter of the visualization. I agree with you. It's a matter of what are the obstacles within us that can gum up the works.
So
that can be a deep dive.
Yeah, here's a thought. So what I would do if I was you, like Pierre, what's the bad news about buying a house? Now just say anything that comes out of your mind.
The bad news is that it's not the proper house. There's another one that is more to exactly to what I need. Like I have a special need because I need a music room to put my grand piano,
Right.
and
So my fear is that the house is not going to be perfect in order to accommodate my grand piano and other things.
well, my fear is that we will buy a house and a little bit later I'll find that there's another house that I should have bought instead.
So there is your obstacle to manifesting a house because you're in a dualistic perspective. You're not in the center.
Right.
So if you're split, you're not going to materialize. The root is not grounded. So you have to know the perfect house exists for us on all levels.
Mhm.
And I don't have to worry about anything because it's already done. So your worrying is pushing the manifestation away.
Yes.
So you may be clear, Benita. You may be like, I'm ready. I can, but you have to know, I'm ready to buy, not rent. I'm ready to buy a house. I want it to be around this price, if not less. I want it to have these qualities. But you, Pierre, have to be on board to everything she's saying, and you have to corroborate that story. Otherwise, if you're not together, then you have two split roots. So he already has a split inside of himself.
Yeah.
So to manifest, all the parts have to come together, and you say, I receive this gift. In perfect timing, it will be the perfect house, and I surrender all of my fears, worries, and concerns. That's the statement for manifestation. And then when the thought comes in, well, what if? You're like, no, no, no. It's going to be the perfect house. That's the ego. That's the bubble from the unconscious, like, oh, we're never going to find what we need. It's not going to happen. That's the subconscious. You want to immediately reprogram when that thought comes up that says, but what if? But what if? And you're like, what if nothing? It's going to be perfect. You have to be the commander, not your mind.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yes, I like the idea of a vision board, all the qualities, because your subconscious looks at that board and is going to manifest the conglomeration of those energies to fulfill your vision.
Mhm.
So yeah, put the qualities, put the specifics if you want, put the colors, whatever it is. If you want a house that's completely done, completely furnished, completely unfurnished, whatever it is, your subconscious is powerful. It will bring to you that which you desire,
Mhm.
and that which is yours by your divine birthright.
Exactly.
And there's another thing, like today we found something that could really be the perfect house, but not the perfect house, yeah. But a very good candidate. And does it make sense to push to have something else when, like our realtor always say, well, don't think that you will have 100%. You will have maybe 80% of what you want, and that's a good result. So I have all those conflictual idea all the time.
So here's my suggestion. You move in the direction of what your heart says yes to. So if when you go to that house, your heart opens and you are pulled in, that is a very clear indication of this is This is a yes to me. This resonates for me. And then you can say, universe, I like this house. I think we're going to buy this house. If there's a better house for me, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to focus on this house and we're going to move forward. And I trust this is the perfect house for me. Thank you. And it's done. And then your mind, it can't play the games with you because you've already communed with that part of yourself that lives in knowing.
Yeah.
And therefore, all that unfolds has to be perfect for you, both.
Mm.
Otherwise, it won't flow with ease and grace. I definitely had hiccups in buying this house. I definitely had hiccups. And one of them was the stairway was wrong. It was completely off. And I knew it was. And the person, he had 2 shoulder replacements and she had 2 hip replacements, the owners. And I said, it's because I didn't tell them, of course, because I think I was crazy, but I knew it was because of the stairway. The stairway was the incorrect feng shui. So, but I said, you know what? Everything else is, and also that driveway was like cray cray. So
I know firsthand
you
about it.
remember, right? Yeah. You left your car down below. I had to Uber you up.
We had to get a tow truck to get my car.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, I forgot that part. See, I selectively forgot that.
That was like the universe talking to you, baby.
Yeah. So after that happened with her, so that driveway and this stairway were 2 reasons I was like, but I was like, you know what? I will somehow figure it out. It's not perfect, but it does fulfill most of my desires.
What I feel is like that the house is coming and that both of us are going to know. We're going to feel it. We're going to be like, yes, even if there are little things that, whatever, it's just like, yeah, it's like click, there it is. Yeah.
And so that house today, did you feel a sort of a click?
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that's your heart knows. That's all. Your body knows. When you step into a space that's yours, your body and soul interconnected know this is it. This is it.
Right. This is it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Others want to share? Yeah. Marcella.
Hello.
Christina, actually.
I haven't changed my name yet
Okay.
on Zoom. I've been listening the whole time, and I think I haven't heard yet what your favorite slash most effective way for addressing the subconscious patterns, because I've done a lot of different approaches to manifestation over the years, and I know that personally when I'm in the flow and I'm clear about my desire, it really does manifest when there's a vibrational alignment like you speak of. And then it's so challenging to feel when I know I'm not aligned, but I want the thing so bad. So when you're in, and I think so many of us are there, like when you know you're there and you feel like the blocks and the stuckness, and what is your favorite way? I mean, there is like, it feels like to me when you're doing the clearing of the belief system, that's still coming from a conscious place, even though it can affect the subconscious.
Oh, no. The goal with the subconscious purge is that you have to do it quickly. So you have to bypass your conscious mind. Otherwise, it won't be a clearing. So say, what is it? What's something, they'll say you want to manifest a partner. The place you go to is to confound the mind. So you have to say, the bad news about creating a partner is, I don't really believe I deserve this type of partner because I don't really believe in. So you have to speak and communicate to your subconscious in a way that doesn't allow the conscious mind to interfere. And then you'll be shocked. You're shocked at what you hear because you can't, you're like, what? Why would I
Yeah.
ever have that belief? And of course, I'm not going to manifest what I want with that belief. So if there's something specific you're wanting to manifest and you want to work with it, we can do it right now.
Well, what it also feels like, and this is one of my favorite ways to do it, is it also feels like an honoring of what's true and real within us, even if it is a pattern from our lineage line or from the culture, wherever that pattern or belief system came in. It's less about intellectualizing it, but more like, I honor that these are belief systems that I carry that are in the way of manifesting a thing. So to me, it feels like an honoring too of what is. And it's like, okay, I recognize this is what is in some part of me,
Well,
and I choose this other belief system.
yeah, I've never gone down the path of honoring limiting beliefs. If you want to do that, that's fine. It's just never it's never come up for me to be like, oh, thanks so much for being present with me all these years and sabotaging all of my desires and needs. I appreciate it. I don't really see it that way, but if that works for you, go for it. I get my shovel and I want to excavate that subconscious mind and I want to create a new fertile soil for that which I wish to experience with flow, ease, and grace to grow. That's how I see it. So I just dive in. I'm not doing ritual per se of gratitude and thanking and honoring. I've never gone there because it's been occupying my time, energy, and space for so long that it's gotten plenty of my acknowledgement and plenty of my energy. So, is there something specifically that you've been wanting so bad that's not happening that you want to work on?
um
Or is that too vulnerable? Whatever works for you.
no, I'm actually in a really good place.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel like I just went through a portal of rebirthing the past 3 months of the year, and it was so intense that I feel a huge shift the first of this year, and movement forward towards, more aligned action. And for me, it required, doing some hard adulting stuff that I'd been
Yeah.
avoiding. Like I needed to get it done, and that was the cycle of completion for me. But I'll think about it. How about a free ticket to Bali? Free flight to Bali.
Does it serve your highest good? Does it serve my highest good to get a free ticket to Bali?
Oh.
So I wouldn't limit a manifestation like that. I would say, I have a desire to go to Bali. So if it serves my highest good to go to Bali, either a ticket will come to me or the funds to pay for that ticket will come to me. So I don't limit by saying free. I just say, if it serves my highest good, everything will unfold with ease and grace and the funds will arise. And thank you. If it doesn't serve my highest good, please give me a clear indication of a no, and I will let it go. That's it. That's how I operate with any decisions I'm making in my life, is I put it out there, I ask for assistance, and I wait for the guidance to come. I wait for the guidance to come. So,
Yeah, it feels good.
but why not? If it serves the highest good, why not have the abundance come to you and just pay for that ticket yourself? It doesn't matter. The universe is so abundant,
Right.
and abundance is our birthright. So, however you want to send it, universe, I receive it. I am a clearing to receive the abundance I am. There's a book that I read very early on in life that changed my life, and it's called, thanks, Christina. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. This is where this like commanding part comes from, because she would command time and space in the universe to do things. And I was always in awe. It's a very Christian book. She was a Christian. I think it was written in the 1940s. And she had so much power to manifest anything for anyone. And that book blueprinted on me very early on, to the point where I remember when I was in Philly, I was living in Philadelphia and I wanted to take all these workshops and I had no money. And I said, listen, I need money. Fill it up. Fill up my bank account, something. And I heard, God is your credit card. Use it. And I'm like, God is my credit card. Use it. I don't like using my credit card. I don't like debt. I don't spend what I don't have. But okay, that's the guidance. Because I could have been making that stuff up. What do I know? I hear all these voices. But I said, okay, fine. I will spend all this money. And I did $10,000 by the end of the year. And I said, I followed your guidance. I followed it. I took all these classes. I spent all this money. Now pay off the debt. And within a month, I got exactly a gift of $10,000. So I have story after story of these manifestations. And that book was a major catalyst if you want to read it. It's not too big. Actually, now there's four in one. The one book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, is this nice small book that is very inspiring and also ignites our own capacity to speak into existence and have existence respond. To speak into existence and have existence respond, because we're in this relationship. We're in this relationship with spirit, with God, with source, with the universe, with each other, with this infinite field of consciousness. We are in this incredible relationship. So what kind of relationship do you want to have in this body, in this lifetime, at this most significant moment in time? We're here on this planet at a precipice, a major precipice of transformation. We're actually in it, and it's unfolding, and we're part of the players in what is to come. We are the visionaries. We're the ones pulling the future into this moment in time. We're here as the emissaries of the new paradigm that's supposedly in the future. I think it's here right now, but supposedly it's in the future, and we're pulling it into this moment in time. We are manifesting the new paradigm through our consciousness, through our presence, right? We're the ones that are doing it because we know the game. This is what I'm teaching y'all, what I'm sharing. This is the game. We are a spark of light, of source, of God, of creation. So we have the capacity to create. When the hurricanes came here, came very close to my house, I opened that door and I said, if this isn't God's will, this needs to stop. This needs to stop. This is not the experience I'm interested in having. I said all these words and then some. I also said, I do not consent. I do not consent because I didn't believe it was nature creating this hurricane. Something felt very off to me. So I said, I do not consent. If this is not nature's will and God's law, I do not consent. And it stopped. Within minutes, it stopped. And there was tornadoes coming. I felt tornadoes coming. So it was real. It was getting real. So I'm sharing this story to say we have the capacity to do incredible things in this world when we're in alignment. Our word is powerful. Our capacity is beyond the beyond. But we're learning. We're learning to let go of all of our limitations and our limiting beliefs in our subconscious mind. We're learning to let go of all of our diseases, our illnesses, our whatever it is, samskaras, the past, the future. That's what we're doing. It's a process. It takes time, takes energy, takes focus, but it's worth everything. Because once you get to this place of being able to command time and space with your words, it's a much more interesting game. It's a lot more fun. So the new paradigm is here. Heaven on earth is here. It's happening through us in our conscious present self. So all the hard work we do ultimately is going to pay off. And it's not about ourself. It's not like it's paying off for me. It's paying off for all of us. My evolution is your evolution. My pain and suffering and moving through it helps you move through your pain and suffering. So nothing I'm doing is like, oh, I'm doing this so I can have an easier life per se. I'm doing this as a demonstration that you can witness through me that which is possible through you. Anything is possible. And once I finish the book that I've been writing for 5 years, then I'll have all these stories, these miraculous stories of manifestation and following this crazy inner voice of mine telling me to do this thing and that thing and leading to amazing life experiences. So anyone else? Sharings, comments? Who needs some healing work? I saw there was a question.
I got a distinction from what you said tonight. I guess I'm just going to say it out loud, and maybe it's only for me, and it won't make a lot of sense to anyone else. But I was reflecting on how I have been quite conditioned, as most Americans, to do. Like in school, you have projects, you have homework, you have to do it, produce. Same with anyone working for 35 years, it was always your task list, do, be in action. And I think a lot of my not so conscious approach, or a lot of the teaching around manifestation, is do. Write, vision board, cut, paste. And what came to mind when you were talking was, oh my gosh, I've been like the bird of prey that's like, okay, I'm hungry, but goes down to the ground and is walking through the field to find it, and walking through the forest. And yeah, you might stumble upon something and then you're fed and you're like, oh, I'm taken care of. But it was so hard. And there's a majesticness to when they go up high and perch and calmly wait with confidence. It's there. And they can just chill out till it's shown to them and then get in action. So something in all you said helped me really see, like, I've looked for work for the past year. I've been in action every day. I've been like the bird who can't really walk that well, going through the grass, applying to every job, and nothing's happening. Instead of getting to the perch, trusting, expecting, watching for, like you said, the things that will show up if you're present to them, if you're open, if you're asking.
Yeah.
It was just a very funny, I get little like movies that play through my head, these kind of analogies or stories that help me process what I'm hearing and understanding. So I guess thank you for whatever you shared. Gave me some clarity that it doesn't always have to be, I don't have to dredge through, the earth. I can let go of that. I have to do to have, after decades of conditioning.
Yeah, that's really a great point. This idea of struggle and strife in order to manifest, that you have to be on top of whatever it is you're creating and you're generating, and you have to focus on it every day, and you have to, toil and write and this and that. I'm of the mindset that I've spoken it, it's done. Unless I hear to put energy into something, I'm of the mindset that if I spoke it into existence, then it is already a done deal. And I don't have to harp over it. I can ride the thermals. Or as you say, sit on the perch and just wait for the prey to show up, and then I'll eat it. But I don't have to micromanage the divine mind. I don't have to micromanage God and be like, what's going on? Well, I have though. And it's funny because my inner voice said, one day it said, why must you constantly micromanage God? And I just like bowed on the floor and I was like, yeah, yeah, I do. I have a control issue and I'm micromanaging God. Like, where's the house? Where's the abundance? Where's the health? And it's like, just take some impatience and trust the process. So at this stage in the game, I don't harp over the manifestation. I just live in the knowing that it's done. It's done. So if I was you and I was looking for a job, I'd say, listen, it's out there. My CV is out there. People know I'm looking for a job. I've done my part. I'm done. If there's a job for me, let me know. Let it come to me with ease and grace. Let it come to me with ease and grace. I'm done. Thank you. And that's it. Like this idea of struggle, strife, toil, work hard to earn a buck, programs, limiting programs. I received the perfect tenant in perfect timing for across the street. I have 2 weeks. Done. Remember, I went to visit my mother in Florida many years ago, 20 plus years ago. And I'm there and I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it here, universe. I'd like to buy a condo close to mother, but I don't want to have to go look for it at all. So I said, make it happen. Next day I woke up. The people next door to my mother were moving out. And I said, you wouldn't be happen to be selling this condo? And the guy's like, yep, I am. I said, how much? He told me, and I'm like, I think I'll take it. And I was like, that is like one of the fastest manifestations ever. And then I call my mother and I'm like, hey, good news. The guy next door is selling the condo and I'm going to buy it. She's like, no, 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 don't buy it because all these reasons. Well, one reason, which was not a big reason at all. It was a monthly payment for the land lease, which is a racket. And it was $100 a month. And I'm like, that's strange, mother. I really thought the universe was corroborating with my desire. So I didn't say that to her because she wouldn't understand any of that. But I was saying to myself, mother's saying no, and mother knows best. You know, she's wiser, she's older. And so, all right, I'll let it go. I'll let it go. Like I was quick to let it go because of her response. But part of me was like, I thought that was my place because I just said those words last night. I didn't want to look for anything close to mother. How close can you get then next door? So I let it go. And then I went to this place to um, this center where you can go and sunbathe and swim and all these people there. So I went there, hung out, and got some sun. And I'm about to leave, and this guy walks over to me and starts just chatting me up. And I said, "What do you do in the world?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a real estate agent." I'm like, "Really?" I said, "I know you don't know me, but would you come with me and look at this place? Because I'm considering buying it." He's like, "Sure." Total stranger. But I'm like, not a stranger. This is alignment. Took the guy back to the condo. He looked through the window and he's like, how much is it? I told him, and he's like, if you don't buy it, I'm going to buy it. This is a steal. And I said, what about the $100 a month, land lease fee? He's like, who cares? I'm like, thank you. So I bought it. Sold it a year and a half later for more than double. And then 8 months later, a hurricane came and wrecked it. So somehow, the universe, in so many different ways, was behind all of it. Even my request of, I like this place. I'd like to find a place next to my mother without looking. Whose thought was that? Why? Came out of nowhere. So this is what I'm saying, that sometimes what's arising in our consciousness isn't even our personality's thought, but it is a kind of like an incentive, like a catalyst. Like, let's see if he'll pick this one up. And if he does, he'll speak it into existence because you need a human, need a man, woman to speak it into existence to manifest it. So my speaking it created it, landed it, made it so I was leaving the house at the same exact moment in time as they're moving these few items out. Like the things that had to align for that place to be bought, I knew it was divinely orchestrated. Even to the point when I moved to Hawaii, the realtor who became my friend calls me while I'm in Hawaii and says, listen, your place is empty here. You're living in Hawaii. You want me to sell it for you? I'm like, I would have never had that thought. That is the divine communicating to me. And I said, absolutely. He sold it in one day for a great price. I was able to live in Hawaii for a while because I didn't have any money. Like everything was orchestrated. And then the house was gone from the hurricane. So much to take apart in such an experience like that. But I share with you all these pieces so that you understand that we are being communed with all the time. We are being spoken to all the time. Give that person $5 on the street. Call this person up, they're in need of your support. There's so many ways that we are manifesting in this world. We simply need to be attuned to the frequency to be able to be master manifestors. We all have that ability. We all have that spark inside of us. Once when I was living in Hawaii, I was living in the outskirts of this community that I was a part of, and I'm chopping up some coconuts, to pick the coconuts for breakfast and the papayas and make my little shake every morning. And one day I was like, oh, I need a new knife. This knife is like nothing. And so I just had that in my mind. And then I walked out of the dwelling where I was living, and I was going through the forest towards the main place where we all congregated. And as I'm walking, this person screams out my name, screams my name. And I'm like, what's up? And they're like, I have 2 knives for you. And I'm like, what? They're like, I have 2 knives for you. And I'm like, why in the world would you run after me with 2 knives to give me 2? She's like, I have no idea. I just had these knives in my hand and I saw you, and some part of me just felt like you needed them. And I'm like, wow. Everything I'm thinking is being listened to. All my needs as they arise are being met. This is the real world. I'm in the real world. And on it goes. So I love these types of stories and sharing these types of stories because they verge on what one would call the miraculous. And even I would sometimes go, that was a miracle. Once I was driving from one side of the island from Kona to Puna, and I'm driving on the road with my friend and having a great time. I loved her car. It was a Jeep. I was driving like 65 miles an hour. It was just a fantastic time. Her name is Moonflower, so she was a ride in of herself, just this character of a human being. So we're just driving, having a great time and laughing and singing. And all of a sudden, as happens in Hawaii, it went from sunny skies to a torrential downpour. On a road like this, 65 miles an hour. And sure enough, the car starts to hydroplane. And I just look at her like, holy shit, what do we do? And I'm like immediately going to like 16 years old and driver's ed and what you do in a hydroplane, and you're supposed to turn into a hydroplane. That's what I remembered. Wrong, you don't. Apparently you don't. So the car now starts to 360. And I'm just like, all right, the car is definitely going to be destroyed. And as soon as I had that thought, something else kicked in. Something else took over. And I started to scream, God is with us. God is with us. And I kept screaming it. And then my friend starts screaming, God is with us. And she's touching the dashboard and just putting her hands on it. And all of a sudden, the car just stops and goes to the side of the road, as if nothing had happened. And I was just like, none of this computes. None of this makes any sense. None of it. That was a miracle from my perspective. Why would I even say God is with us? That I have no idea. Why would I utter those words that I've never uttered before? So there are things available to us that are possible in this world when we are available to it. There are invisible forces working for us. All we have to do is reach out. But clearly, it was not my destiny to die or to be harmed, or my friends. That was not my destiny. So something had to intervene to stop it, because that was probably an accident, quote unquote, that wasn't supposed to happen in the grand scheme of my life's design, that I was supposed to have a car accident at that moment in time. Because if it was, I would have had a car accident. But it wasn't on my path. It wasn't part of my path. So something intervened to prevent any harm from being done. So this is how I know whatever is happening in our life is part of our life, is part of our soul's destiny. If not, it cannot happen. So I'm not a fan of accidents at this point in time. Not a fan of the word accident. There has to be something else going on for anything to happen in our lives, that it's part of our destiny. Because if it's not, I don't see how it can happen. That's the working ideology that I'm with at this point in time. Because others have said, others who I have held in high regard have said there are accidents. So I just haven't seen it yet or experienced it directly yet. Oh, lots of talking. Anyone else would like to share? I saw there was some messages.
Going back to the game of life, what was the other three books for some?
So the game of life and how to play it, Florence Scovel. If you looked it up, you will see all four books with it as well. You'll see the singular book. You'll also see all four together. I don't know. I think it's called maybe the Collected Writings of Florence Scovel. Maybe you can see it there. If you find it, Robert, you can put it into the chat. Seems like manifesting what your soul wants is more like co-creation. Manifesting what your soul wants is co-creation. I would agree with that. I think it is a co-creation.
Yeah, you're saying like they're giving you a gift or an incentive, but it's also sort of like, oh, okay, I heard this thing. Is that really what I want? Maybe it doesn't matter. Like maybe you hear it and you're like, oh, why would I want a blue RAV4? But maybe maybe it's not so much manifesting, but just like, okay, that's what seems to be happening. I'll go along with it.
Yeah, if it's in a flow, for me, if it's in a flow, I go. If it's not in a flow, I don't go. I always track my thoughts. I follow my thoughts. You all know what that means? Like I track, whenever something comes in my mind, I'll go, is there a reason that thought is there? Was there something linking? Like if someone pops into my mind, I'll say, why are they in my mind? And I'll say, oh yeah, because that necklace that I bought reminds me of them. Okay, great. But if someone pops into my mind and there's no track, I know that they're thinking of me or they're going to call me or they're going to reach out to me. Something's going to happen in relation to that person. So I'm always tracking whenever a thought arises in my mind because I hang out in emptiness for the most part. My mind is pretty empty. So I am a receptor for a ton of information that comes to me. The other thing that's happening is this mind is a receptor for higher consciousness. So there's always books being written in my head. I'm always writing books. I have papers everywhere of like what's next to be written because that's the channel that I am. I'm a writer and teacher. So but for the most part, it's empty. So if my mind has a thought, I track it to see what's the origin, and then I act on it. So if you're a meditator, because meditation is one of the vehicles by which we get to have an empty mind or the witness mind. So if you meditate, you can cultivate this witness, this emptiness, and then from that emptiness, you track the thoughts. And then whatever's coming, then you can scan to see what to do about it. Hopefully that makes sense. That's one of my main tools of knowing what's happening in the world, what's happening in my life, who's calling, who needs help. How many times I call my mother and she's like, I was just gonna call you. I said, yeah, I know. I was feeling you. I was hearing you. You came into my mind. And she's like, okay, Joe, whatever you say, because she doesn't necessarily believe in any of this stuff. So, but no matter how many times I call her, in the moment she's thinking about me, she still doesn't believe in any of this stuff. But it's real. A clear mind is a receptor for all these transmissions. And then when you receive the transmission, you have to understand where it's coming from. So when I'm working with clients, that emptiness is very useful because all this information is popping up into my consciousness about their past lives, diseases in their system, patterns, programs, beliefs in their subconscious mind that's creating disease. Remedies are popping up, on and on it goes. It's like a machine. When there's an emptiness in the mind, it's this machine of information that just arises in each moment. And it's not like I have to do anything for it. There's no doing. There's no efforting. That's what happens when you traverse the void. When you go beyond what Amy was saying about, I have to do something, I have to push, I have to effort to make this manifest. I don't believe that's the case. I believe that is actually the ego interfering, entering fear, interfering in the process of manifestation.
I agree, Joseph. And what certain things that have popped up as you've been talking is like this speaking into existence and the whole thing about positive affirmations, which then oftentimes for people, it comes from a place of efforting or the tension within intention of trying to make something happen. And so it's like that people are coming from a good place, that they are thinking that they're trying to create or co-create and manifest their reality. And so one of the things I think that would be helpful for that I find like with my clients is how do you discern what kind of, like when you're not truly in alignment. I mean, I get the whole thing of like this, you're just an open source. And I have my ways of knowing when there's the resonance, when there's the download, when there's truth of the soul. And can you speak to that to some extent? The differences. How do people discern when they're coming from ego versus coming from the soul's knowing?
Well, when we're coming from ego, we are attached to a result. There's interference. There's a contraction. There's a micromanaging. There's an impatience. There's all the reactivity. Whenever there's reactivity, that is the personality/ego. Whenever there's a forcing or a trying, that's personality or ego. When it is soul directed, there is a heart-centeredness to it. There is an inner knowing. There is an acceptance of what is. So the distinction for me is a knowing versus a doing, a knowing versus a pushing, a knowing versus an efforting, a surrenderance versus an attachment. So all those negative personality traits need to be looked at, integrated, dealt with, and brought to the higher octave. So like for me, I have the impatience. So I'm constantly having to take impatience, flower essence, to keep letting go of this idea of everything is moving too slowly in this world. Because that impatience is coloring my capacity to receive guidance. That contraction and, oh my God, why don't people wake up sooner? That thing is an obstacle to receptivity. My judgment of anything or anyone is an obstacle. It's a contraction. Fear, contraction. Indifference, contraction. All of where I'm coming from in my desire to manifest completely and utterly colors the manifestation. So I want to come from a place of ease, grace, acceptance, knowing all the higher octaves, the soul qualities of those lower personality reactivity aspects. So if I'm in that neutral witness state, I am in alignment. If I don't really care, like I don't care, yeah, it's going to happen. The tenant is going to show up. And if it doesn't, whatever. I'm not attached. But I know it's going to happen. I don't know how I know. I just know it's going to work out because it always works out. But however it works out, I already know I'm going to accept as perfect. That's the main indicator. No matter how it works out, I know it's going to be perfect.
Trust. Yeah.
Yes. Trust, faith, acceptance, knowing, grounding, present, clarity, not wishy-washy. All these qualities come together, and you have a powerhouse of a soul in a human body. You're like the sun, like that, the beginning of that meditation. We are the sun. We are these incredible transmitters if we would just get out of the way. Oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Oh, is this going to work out? Oh, why doesn't this? Oh, I wish yesterday. Oh my gosh, how much energy is being wasted from this mind that is all over the place? That's why we need to be rooted like an oak, strong, grounded in our truth. And so we do our work daily to observe ourselves, to notice the patterns that are limiting us and keeping us split in consciousness in the old paradigm. The old paradigm is based in duality. The new paradigm is based in unity consciousness, oneness. So we're dying to those old aspects, those fear-based aspects of ourself, to those that live in disease, that need to create illness after illness. We're moving out of that old paradigm and into the new paradigm, which is not a new paradigm. It's simply a different frequency of energy that is in alignment with truth, love, sharing, community, all the higher qualities of soul. That paradigm exists. We simply need to align with that paradigm and watch. All our needs are met as they arise. It doesn't mean we're not going to have to work. It doesn't mean we're not going to have some struggling and suffering sometimes. Doesn't mean any of those things. But what it does mean is that we are in alignment, and no matter what is happening in our lives is part of what we're here to experience. There's no problems whatsoever. Nothing is a problem. Nothing is a problem. Every solution already exists for every problem that arises. Why? Because that's how it works. That's the game fulfilled. So whenever I have, when I got that message of the tenant moving, I could feel this slight contraction of like, oh, I got to clean the house, I got to advertise it. And I was like, oh, no. We don't do that anymore. That's the old paradigm. So I saw the direction I wanted to go in. I saw the contraction happening. And I said, no, we're going to expand. Everything flows with ease and grace. I don't know how, but somebody will show up in the next 2 weeks who will love that house. And it's done. So to be aware first and foremost of the patterns that we're running, to be aware, to be awake, and then to go do the work to unravel those patterns and programs, to up-level those patterns and programs. That's the real work. That's the real. Every time there's a contraction, stop, sit down, and ask yourself the question, what's happening? What are you feeling? Okay, who's talking? How old is she? How old is he? And then get to work. Uproot it. That's a weed. It's a weed in our subconscious mind. Pull it out. Integrate it. We want clear soil. We want great soil to grow our spirit, our soul's power, our soul's anchor. We're here to grow the seeds of our soul in our subconscious. The soul is ever powerful. So much knowledge, so much wisdom, so many lifetimes collected. The more empty we are, the more the soul drops in, and all of its content begins to arise in our conscious mind. That is the only way I can make sense of all these various abilities that I have cultivated over these years. The soul keeps coming in and it just arises in my consciousness. I've not studied a lot of what I do in the intuitive world. The other pieces, yeah, I've studied for sure. But even that remedies just arise in my consciousness like that. These are soul superpowers. And the more we clear the space in the subconscious, the more the greater part of our self takes root. The more the soul self, the God self, the higher self, whatever self you want to call it, it's a powerhouse of wisdom, of intelligence that goes and surpasses way beyond the intellect. Anyone else like to share, talk? Anything? We have about a few more minutes left.
Joseph, I had a quick thought, if you can hear me okay.
Sure.
And I'll be quick. I've been playing with this notion of, we're talking about commanding and using our words and from the heart and the feelings that we have about manifesting. And I've been playing with this idea of how gentle can I make it? You know, how much gentleness can I apply to this? And what if, this is what not that I've mastered this, but I'm playing with it. What if there's an inverse relationship with how the more gentle I have made it, the more powerful it really is and can be? And this stemmed from about a month ago. I reacted to something because reactions do tell us the state of consciousness that we're in. And I reacted to something that somebody sent me a text message, and I sent something back that I feel bad about. You know, like I reacted in a way that was less gentle than I thought I was. So ever since then, I'm like, okay, we're going to change this. So I'm just putting that out there, that, and I can tell the difference. You know, how gentle can I make this? And not the, oh, this is going to happen. This is happening. That, you know, that force, that angst that we've been talking about, just release all that. And how gentle can I put it? And therefore manifest the power and the love of where we want to go. So I'll stop.
I love that. No, I love that idea of gentleness. I think about a leaf in a gushing river and how
Yeah.
fast that leaf flows because it has no resistance. It is totally surrendered.
I think it's the Christ consciousness. It's like, how gentle can we make it and yet be powerful, because it's not in and of ourselves. Yeah. Humanly.
I like it. I like, and it also brings to my mind how birds ride a thermal and
Mm,
they're just taken to their destiny
yeah.
without much of any effort because they surrendered into the wind, and the
Right.
wind, which to me always represents spirit, will take them. But yeah, I am in favor of this idea that we're in a river of life, and that river has its destination. And how we get there depends upon us. You can go against the flow of the river and suffer tremendously. That's the willpower part. You can be a heavy rock and it has to be forced and pushed and moved. Or you can be, just like you say, you can be this feather, this leaf just flowing very gently. And I surrender to thy will and where you want to take me. Thy will be done, not mine. This is one of my prayers each day. Thy will be done, not mine, in me and through me. Show me what I must do this day that I may be a clear channel of your divine presence for all. I usually say that 3 times a day. Thy will be done, not mine, in me and through me. Show me what I must do this day that I may be a clear channel of your divine presence for all. So what I'm doing in those words is I am training my mind to let go of thinking it's in control, because it's not. It doesn't know anything beyond what it's been taught, what it's been conditioned to believe is true, what's in its, past experiences. It doesn't know the infinite. Only the emptiness can be informed of the infinite. So I train my mind to let go of its minutia of knowledge and to be open to the infinitude of the all and everything. Great piece of the puzzle. Thanks, Keith. Wonderful. I love this evening. I feel like it was way beyond 2 hours, even though it's just 2 hours, but the content was fantastic.